Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Retro Recap. Rob here with a quick rundown of James Bond 007 on the Colecovision. I just got done playing this game and mastering it on Retro Achievements, so I just wanted to pass on some tips and pointers and gameplay for y'all. This one wasn't too bad. It was about 6 hours runtime on this to get the mastery for me. I'm sure you'll do it way faster than that. You're probably way better than I am. But the 1.8 ratio is a little deceiving. There's a couple achievements here that can be a little difficult to get. Took me some time to master them and get the patterns down and whatnot. The good thing about this game does have like some patterns and some tricks that you can do that will make the mastery easier. It's not one of those. There is RNG involved, which kind of sucks too, but there's some things you can do to make it a little less bad, but the RNG can suck in this game. So 18 total achievements at the time of this recording, so good number of achievements and points there, but not too bad. So let's go ahead and get into the game info here. This game was developed back in 1984 by Parker Brothers for the Coleco, and it's kind of crazy. This was developed right after the Octopussy movie came out, which came out in 83, and this game doesn't have anything to do with Octopussy. So the way they work this game is based off of 4 movies spanning 10 years over all the, James Bond movies that were developed from like 1971 to 1981. The movies go as far back as 62, and then they range all the way up to the newer ones that have Daniel Craig in them. Made millions of dollars in the box office over the years. And there's some that are definitely way more popular than the others. Like Thunderball is probably my favorite. I actually went to the cave, Thunderball Cave, and saw that in person, so that was pretty cool. I got a picture of me holding a gun like James Bond in that, but that was one of my favorites. There's a lot of good ones out there. Let me know in the comments what you think is your favorite one. I'm not a personal fan of the newer ones. I kind of lost interest after like Brosnan. I was kind of losing interest with Pierce Brosnan and the stuff. GoldenEye was probably like one of my favorites just because I played the video game so much. And then after that, I kind of lost interest. But let me know in the comments what your favorite was and why you liked it. So the 4 movies that are associated with this game are Diamonds Are Forever, The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, and For Your Eyes Only. These are actually produced by Albert R. Broccoli, which I thought was kind of funny when I was making this video. I'm like, oh, his name's Broccoli. That's nuts. I never knew that, so I thought that was kind of funny when I was making it. The way this works is that you have 4 movies. Each board corresponds to a movie. It's fully linear. You beat the board, you go on the next board. When you beat For Your Eyes Only, you basically win the game, and the game's over. You don't repeat. The score is what you get. So breakdown for the boards is you want to start with the first one is Diamonds Forever. That is basically you're searching for an oil rig. You're in the water. You have your car / flying vehicle. Your vehicle like flies and it also goes underwater, does all this stuff. And in that movie, you can see that the oil rig is like exploding and there's lots of explosions and stuff in that. But you want to get to that oil rig and rescue Tiffany Case, who's, basically this other agent. And she's going to help you with destroying, I don't know, some world end, destroy targets on the Earth's surface or something like that. There's a missile that there's always something that destroys the Earth. So that's it for that one. The Spy Who Loved Me. And that next board, you're going to be, you can see the underwater vehicle here. Really cool shot on that where you have the missile shooting up at the helicopter explodes, and then the car comes creeping out of the water. I always thought that was so cool. And then he throws the little fish out like, yeah, later. I always thought that was really, really cool. But in that one, you're going to look for the undersea laboratory, and then you're basically going to rescue your other agent, another girl again. You got to rescue her again from the laboratory. It's always about rescuing a girl and saving the Earth. So then the third one is Moonraker. Moonraker's probably the most annoying board in this game, but that one you're going to destroy 3 spinning satellites that are going to be spinning. That movie there's like a space shuttles that you take up into the space, and there's a whole city that's in space, and you're going to basically hang out there and try to beat the evil villain while you're doing that. But in this game, you're just basically shooting the satellites. It's like the hardest board, but also like the quickest board. So it's kind of a mixed bag there. The last one is For Your Eyes Only. That one you're going to retrieve a radio equipment from a ship that's basically sunk from a World War II mine. It has codes for more ballistic missiles that are going to destroy the world, and you just basically have to get those codes and stuff. So that's a breakdown of the 4 boards. Now let's get into the actual gameplay here. Like I said, this is my run for 007. You have to do this on advanced difficulty, and we'll go ahead and break this down. Like I said, first board is diamonds are forever. You have 5 guys to start with. You want to not lose as many guys as you can. Each one of those guys is worth 3,000 points, which is a really cool mechanic, and I actually love that mechanic in games. If you play really well at the end of the game, you get more points because of the guys you have left over. And I think 3,000 is a really good number for this game to get extra guys from, because if you don't have that amount of points, you definitely feel it. You have to farm levels, and we'll get to that in a minute. For this board, you can see we're a car, we're just jumping over. It's kind of like Moon Patrol at this point. If you ever played Moon Patrol, you're kind of jumping over the caverns of bombs and stuff, and also shooting the diamonds that are in the air, the satellites. That's causing the flashing. If you have, you know, seizure problems and everything, I don't recommend playing this game, because my retinas were just burning by the time I got done with this one. This board just flashes all the time, and the reason why you want to keep it flashing, you want to keep hitting those satellites, is because that's what reveals the oil rig. The oil rig will be black, and it will come up in a minute here. So here, first oil rig, I actually go under it, and this is just because I was kind of farming some points, and I was like messing around still more at this point to get more points to see how that would affect my overall rating in case I did lose guys at the end. You can see I'm timing those frogmen as I'm going, and just whenever they're coming towards me, I just kind of throw out a mine, and it takes care of them. If you miss them, I recommend going all the way far back, and then zooming forward as fast as possible. Now for this part right here, I tried to jump the oil rig to even get even more points, but that's basically that little T-bar there is where you want to land. You want to jump up and position your car onto that. So here I was trying to jump the whole thing, but it actually just caught me and just ended the board anyways, which is fine. I was okay with that. It's kind of risk reward. If you keep going for more points, there's a chance you could die. If you lose points, or if you die, you lose 3,000 points at the end of the game. So you got to kind of weigh how many points you want versus how many times you want to die, or take a risk on dying. I'm sure there's people that could just sit and farm for hours, but I get bored. So we're on to the Spy Who Loved Me in this board. That's all you got to do to complete that board, is land on that oil rig. You can do it pretty quick. That's why the whole gameplay for this game is probably not more than 5 minutes or so. But I'm trying to break it down here. So here is the most annoying board, is that you have these green mines. These guys right here coming down from the sky. These will randomly come down the sky. Sometimes they'll just hit you immediately and you'll die. You won't even really have time to respond. Also, you have missiles come from the ground. You have these helicopters. These helicopters it's kind of deceiving, because in the movie, you know, they show them shooting the helicopter and it blowing up. Whereas in this, you can hit that thing a million times and nothing happens. You don't get even points or anything from that. So there's an oil rig. You can see that was my one death there. You know, you're confronted with the oil rig where you have to go under it. You get the missiles coming up, and you got the mines coming down. So it's like trifecta of just RNG crap. So just fire your buttons as much as possible and try to use, you know, dodging in the best way possible. You can go over the oil rigs too if you want to. That's an option if you feel like you can make that jump. Sometimes I didn't make that jump because the top would like clip me or something, so I found it a lot easier to go under them. So you're just going to keep doing this, continuing on the board, getting as many points as possible. This is the farming board, and I'll get to that in a minute when we go for the 50,000K achievement. But what you're looking for here is there's going to be a fortress that houses your girlfriend, and you're going to have to hit that fortress so that way a capsule launches out of it with her in it, and whatever, she's got the codes or something. So there's a fortress right there. You're going to have to time the mine perfectly to hit that. If you overshoot it, you're just gonna have to do the board again, which is fine. You can keep farming the same board and keep doing that over and over again. Eventually you'll hit it. So all you gotta do is touch the capsule there. You're good to go. Now we're on to Moonraker. If you're here and you were like, got to this board and you're like, how the hell did I get this board? I'm gonna show you a couple tricks to get through this. This one threw me for a loop. I read the instruction manual, which is always good practice in any of these games. Read the instruction manual first, the whole instruction manual thoroughly. There's always good information in these old instruction manuals, and I've kind of learned that over the years. But this particular one, basically, you're just still in the same, your car, ship, or whatever. So here you got a lot of things going on. You got the space shuttles are taking off. from an underground facility there. So you have to hit those guys. You got frog guys coming at you at the end over there. Those guys will shoot you. And then you have to be able to shoot that satellite up top. You got to knock out 3 of those satellites to pass the board while you're doing all this other stuff. And this is all kind of random. So like you can get really bad sequences where I got like a space shuttle and like 2 frogs, and then like a submarine was behind me also. So there you can see I took out, you have to take out the space shuttle. If you don't take out the space shuttle, it'll explode in the air. So there I took out the first satellite, and I luckily got by that guy okay. But here I'm going to show you, it's coming up here. There's a submarine. Now you have to deal with the submarine and this. Now I took out the second satellite. This one I took out, yeah, right here. Okay, so here's the example. You can see why this is such bullshit. I killed the second frog guy, and then this guy's firing 3 bullets off like crazy. So I know I have to avoid him. But instead, where most people would probably like try to go up and over, the trick here is to not be above the water surface when that shuttle explodes. If you're above the surface and that explodes, you'll die. So what I'm doing is, you can see that it just exploded. The whole upper screen lit up, but I'm underwater, so I can stay alive. Luckily, I was spamming my missiles there and happened to take out all this guy's bullets in time and still take that out and then get that 3rd satellite. With that 3rd satellite, you get that within 25 seconds. This was definitely one of the harder achievements too, and I recommend doing this achievement on the beginner difficulty, because it's just one of those achievements that it's time-based and RNG based, which are like 2 of my least favorite things in the world. But that's how you do it. You want to do it 125 seconds, get that knocked out. I just happened to do that on the same run as I was going for the 007, and I kind of figured I'd just keep going for that as I play through the 007 runs, because I'm like, maybe I'll just get lucky and get it one of these times, and I did. So now we're on to For Your Eyes Only. This is the final board of the game. This one is you can see the screen flashing again. We're back to the flashing situation. That's why I recommend farming on the second board. You want to take out those 2 frogmen right away. They will, they're firing bullets like crazy. But if you take those both out, you get 400 points. Also, it just makes it a little bit easier. When you jump from these, you can jump over this, and I would stay you want to stay in the wheelhouse of you can definitely thread the needle on where you're jumping. But the main thing is making sure to take out those frogmen. And then here we got this helicopter always drop 1 bomb in the same sequence. So this is where you can kind of just get the pattern down. And this board, I actually found this board easier than Moonraker and the second board. The second and third board were, to me, the 2 harder of the boards. But this one's not too bad because you can just do the pattern. Just kind of time those bombs again. Make sure you take those guys out. You still got to watch this guy's mines. Sometimes it'll cause a problem, but you can kind of thread the needle with his bombs. And I kind of shoot him. I try to shoot him in a lot of this, so to get extra points. Again, just simple mine there. So I kind of went back, and then you just shoot forward on those guys if one of those guys gets through. And once you get used to this and do it like, oh, I don't know, 30 times, you'll. So right there, you can see that there's flashing and there's a shipwreck right there. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to basically just go ahead and jump over into that shipwreck and just run into it. That's it. That's the whole game. 007 there. I lost 1 guy on that run. So they tell you, like I said in the instruction manual, they say that it's confidential on how to get 007, but you do need to be on advanced difficulty. I know that for sure. And I think it's just related to the number of guys you have. I think you can have 3, but I'm not 100% sure, because whenever I died, it was either I had like this run where I only lost 1 guy, or I lost 3 guys. And whenever I lost 3 guys, I didn't get the 007. So I think you need, or 2 guys. So I think you need at least 3 guys. Can't confirm that because I just got it with 4 guys total. And also you might be able to boost your score. That was one thing I was going to try too. Was I think if you get your score way up, I don't know if that works and that's how it's done, or if it's just based on the number of guys you have. But there it is for that one. So real quick on there's one last achievement that I kind of did that I will timestamp below and show you just kind of quick run through of the 50K run, because that was actually the last run I needed. So for that one, I needed 50,000 points. I definitely didn't want to do it on advanced because I'm like, it's going to be kind of like a farming run. You could get it probably if you get all, if you probably make it to the end with, you know, a couple of farming and then get all your guys, because each of your guys are worth 3,000. So here on this run, I'm just going to fast forward here to basically this is the beginner difficulty on this board, and all you're going to do on this board is just continuously repeat this board over and over again. I would suggest doing this to probably, I don't know, 35,000 if you want, if you can do it consistently and not die, because when you die, every time you die you lose 3,000 points essentially that you're going to get at the end of the game. So you always want to keep that math in your head that, oh, I died, so now I'm going to have to farm another 3,000 to get to 50,000. So you can see here I just went by the fortress and I just said screw the fortress, and we're going to hit these missiles. The missiles are going to give you the quickest points, I think. The other boards, I tried to farm the end board here in a minute. I'll show you that. And I didn't get nearly as many points as I did on this board, but you are more likely to die on this board. So it's a trade-off. Just going to keep going there. Eventually, you know, like, you're just going to keep repeating. Even if you hit the fortress and the capsule comes up, you can actually jump over it. So there, I think I hit it. That's probably where I jumped it. So there, you can just jump over it and just keep going and just sit there and farm. I wish I would have farmed this a lot longer, because then what happens is I was doing this run and I was kind of sick of playing it at this point. I got the Moonraker, you know, did the Moonraker board, which is always a pain. And then I think that at this point I had lost like 2 or 3 guys already. So I knew my options were either restart, start farming again on the second board, or just keep playing through and farm this board. So I was just like, well, screw it, I'm already here. And then I got to like 30, I think it was like 30 something, and I was like, I died again, and I was like, oh god, I gotta farm another 3,000. What I forgot was that when you complete the board, you get an additional, you know, 50, or you get an additional 5,000. So I forgot about that. So I actually farmed to 44. You can see me just going over and over and over again until I get to like, I think 44 here, and thinking that that was going to be plenty. And then I totally forgot that I could have stopped at like, what was it? I had like 2 guys left, so I could have stopped at, or 3 guys left, so I could have stopped earlier. No, I could have stopped at, with 5,000 left. So instead of 44, I could have stopped at 39, but I went to 44 instead because I just wanted to make sure I actually got it. But I could have stopped at 39. I know how to do math. But here's, I think, the final shipwreck. I just like want to hit the submarine. The submarines, I don't know how much you get for submarines, but the Frogmen you get 200 for. So this is definitely not an ideal board to farm. I don't know why I did it here, but definitely farm on board 2 instead. It'll make your life infinitely easier. So yeah, that's the very end there, I think. You're just basically waiting, keep farming. So there I got to 44 and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. Let's finish this damn thing. Waiting, and there's the shipwreck, and you just go down and you touch it, and there says 49 there, but then when you get the extra guys, points from the extra guys and for finishing the board, the 49 you get from the extra guys, and then I got an additional, you know, from finishing it. So 52,000 there, and I only got, you know, the 007 rank, and that's another reason why you have to do the 007 on advanced, because this is the maximum you can get. On beginner is 005. So hope that helps you guys. I just wanted to pass that all along and give you that info and leave it up here for you guys to, even in case you want to ever get your masteries or just have fun with this game. I really enjoyed this game. I actually had fun with it. Looking forward. Actually, I think I'm going to jump in the Atari version and probably give that a go now. Now that I got the mechanics of this and kind of know how this one operates, I'm sure that one operates about the same way. Probably have another guide up for that if there's any crazy achievements or anything for it. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next guide. Thanks for watching.